Another foundering car, and this time we will place the performance of the Swift Sport Hybrid in stock form in comparison to other cars that have similar type of performance. And to give you a historical reference, the quarter mile is performed by the Swift Sport Hybrid stock in 16.5 seconds on average. So some people are faster, approximately 16 seconds for the quarter mile, and some are a little bit slower, approximately 17 seconds, so on average would be 16.5. This is similar to the performance of 205 1.9 GTI with 131 horsepower of Peugeot, which was an historical hothead with ample performance. The thing is, horsepowers are comparable, but Swift Sport has a little bit more torque. Also, it weighs a little bit more than the 205 1.9 GTI. It also has a similar performance if you compare it, for example, with the Renault CLIO first generation 1.8 16-volt engine, which had 138 horsepower, and will be also comparable with a Golf 2 1.8 GTI 16 volts, also with 138 horsepower, probably a little bit faster. So if you compare it to all those cars, the raw data will tell you that they have similar performance. I mentioned some historical cars, but I could also mention some more modern equivalents, of course. But if you look at the in-gear accelerations, you see a completely different story. So what does it tell you? That this engine has a lot more flexibility. So for example, if you have to accelerate from 60 to 140 or the likes, you will find that this Swift Sports has a lot more in-gear acceleration. So for example, then they say do it in 4, 6, etc. And this is due to the fact that Swift Sport has a lot more torque. 235 Newton meter is no joke. Also, if you compare it to modern equivalent, like for example another 1.4 turbo engine, the Abarth 595 with 140 horsepower, you will see that the Swift has better acceleration. And how can this be? Because there was similar engineered. Both have 1.4 turbo engines. The Abarth might even have more horsepower, because Suzuki only states 129 horsepower, whereas Abarth states at least 140. So how can this be? The Swift has a little bit more torque, but also it has a 6-speed gearbox, which gives you a little bit closer gears, and it's lighter. So how can a car that is a lot larger, more modern, better equipped, like the Swift Sport, and also has a 5-door configuration, be lighter than a car that is a 3-doors coupe, so to say, with 2 additional seats in the back, and it's also a lot shorter. This is due to the hardtack platform that Suzuki developed, and only now and then you will see that the manufacturer makes a successor of a car that is lighter than its predecessor, and they do this by reinventing a new platform that's a lot more stiff and can also be made lighter at the same time, because normally due to the regulations and also the safety, cars are becoming heavier and heavier. It's not only that they have to have a stiffer chassis to get to the crash test and get good scores there, but also because they have to pack more technology because of safety, but also because of creature comforts that a lot of people want. But the Swift Sport is one of those cars in the ZC33S iteration that's a lot lighter than its predecessor, which is crazy when you think about it, because it has a lot more, especially the Swift Sport Hybrid that I have here. It even has 2 engines, one electric engine, 1 turbo engine, and that turbo you have to add a turbo to this system to make it more complex, but also an intercooler, which the natural aspirated version does not have. It might be 1600cc and this 1400cc, but those 200cc normally would not make up the weight difference from an intercooler and a turbo. But they managed this, and they even added an additional engine, an electric engine, and a lithium-ion battery to charge that electric engine. So it gives you some perspective of what they did. And if you look also at other iterations of turbocharged cars, you will often see that when a car goes turbo from being naturally aspirated, that they add on weight. That this is not the case here, whereas the Swissport was one of the last of the Mohicans, being the last non-turbocharged hot hatch alive and kicking. And now they changed it, and yeah, the weight is decreased. That's an awesome feature. So that is one of the tricks that the Swissport has up its sleeve. Also, other cars that could be comparable in performance are, for example, a CIVIC 1.6 VTI. I think this is the generation that also had the EK9 Civic Type R, and the VTI then had 160 horsepower, for example. It also has quite comparable performance, and if you would tune the Swissport, I think the performance would be staggering. I think a tuned Swissport would do the quarter mile in a similar fashion as compared to, for example, a stock Polo GTI with a 2-liter 200 horsepower engine. And that's only due to the fact that I think a tuned Swissport with an ECU tune and perhaps an exhaust could go to towards 180 horsepower, and with that weight benefit, because the Polo GTI will weigh 25% or more, then the power to weight will be better with the Swissport, and that will translate into a better quarter mile time. Hope you like this video. If you do, please feel free to subscribe, then we can keep making these videos. I hope you have a great day. Bye bye.